Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Madi and today I'll be joined by my co-host Ben. And it is great to have you join us for this episode.
Yes, hello listeners. Hello Maddie. Welcome to episode number 162 today. And Maddie, what are we talking about on Arsenal Kids Podcast this time around?
Well, both the men's and women's team played at the same time this week. So should we go with the good news or not so good news?
How about we do the good news first?
Okay, well, that is that the women's team won 4-0 against Aston Villa.
A thumping result at Emirates Stadium. I guess that leaves then the not so good news in part two?
Yes. The men's team drew 1-1 with the Fulham.
And it was disappointment late on with a goal ruled out by VAR right at the end of the match. But today, Maddie, you wanted to give a shout out to someone, and that's because on the weekend we were in Bundaberg in central Queensland for a mini getaway. I had a work commitment up there and we took the opportunity to bring Maddie along and we went and visited the Bundaberg Rum Distillery.
And the person on the desk at Bundy Rum is an Arsenal supporter, a big fan of the women's team. And so we want to give her a shout out on this episode.
Yes, so please let us know if you want us to give you a shout out as well, because we would love for you to help us grow our Arsenal Kids community. So please continue to share our podcast with other Arsenal friends that you know.
We would love for you to join us on this adventure together.
We would indeed. And Maddie, straight into the women's team where interim head coach still, we are awaiting further information about that at any moment. But Renee Slagers made 2 changes to the starting 11 that started the last game prior to the international break, as our Lady Gunners look to build on an unbeaten November, lining up against Aston Villa at Emirates Stadium in the Super League.
And November Player of the Month is Emily Fox, started strongly down the right-hand side.
Yes, she did. She nullified the visitors' attacking threat. We then put the ball into the net very early on as Beth Mead rounded ex-Gunner goalkeeper Sabrina D'Angelo, only for the goal to be chalked off as the flag went up for offside. But it was Kyra Cooney-Cross who took command of the game from the outset with some mazy runs and pinpoint delivery of the ball into our forward line. And it took a little moment for the Gunners to shake off their cobwebs after the international break, but they grew into the first half and looked the most likely to find a breakthrough.
And it was our Aussie set piece delivery that brought about the goal in the 16th minute.
Kyra put in a delicious delivery that found Alessia Russo waiting to pounce on the ball in the box, and our number 23 headed the ball home for our opening goal. And then, buoyed by that first goal, we raised the tempos. We went in search of a second, as Aston Villa continuously were undone by long balls over the top and by our wingers who were doing all they could to cause the defenders problems.
And it led to us doubling our lead just before half-time.
There was some beautiful one-touch football unlocking Caitlin Ford, whose low cross into the box was met by a sliding Freedom Ornum. Her shot ricocheted off the post, but fortunately it was into the path of Beth Mead, who was in the right place at the right time to tap the ball home into the net for our second goal. In the second half, the visitors, they upped their energy as they looked to try and find a way back into the game, and some fantastic work from Steph Catley, who returned to action, which is good news as we reported a suspected injury just before she was to run out for the Matildas last weekend. And Steph, she ran hard and stopped the attacker who had run through on goal.
We then put the ball into the net.
This time it was Russo who found the net after some neat footwork saw her round the Villa keeper. Again, though, the flag was raised for offside and so the goal did not count. But after weathering a small spell of pressure, our Gunners regained control and substitute Stina Blackstenius further extended our lead as she stretched to reach Katie McCabe's fantastic through ball and beat the keeper to score Arsenal's third.
And then Russo, captain of a player of the match, performed with a second goal.
She did cap off an amazing performance, and that was with her never give up attitude as she chased and harried the defender who failed to clear the ball, and winning it back near the byline. Russo turned the defender and curled the ball beautifully into the top corner, making it 4-0 to the Gunners and job done in this Super League tie.
And what does this mean for the team, Ben?
Well, Maddie, with 9 games played of the 22-game season, the Gunners now sit in third place with 18 points. They trail league leaders Chelsea, who are currently 9 points ahead at the moment, but we have the opportunity to rest a few of our players this midweek, as no doubt we'll play a rotated side heading to Norway for a Champions League clash with Vålerenga, knowing that we have already qualified for the next phase of that competition.
Okay, well, let's leave that for part 1 and we'll be right back after this with part number 2. Welcome back, and Ben, not so good news for the men's team who couldn't get over the top of Fulham on this occasion.
Yes, and the side was still without Gabriel and Calafiore, and then also Zinchenko, who was unavailable for this game due to injury, meaning that Urian Timber lined up at left back and Thomas Partey at right back as the injury crisis to our fullbacks continue. But the Gunners saw a lot of the ball in the opening exchanges, forcing a couple of corners and pushing the host back, who barely left their own half in the first 10 minutes at Craven Cottage.
But with the first attack, the game Fulham opened the scoring.
They went from defence to attack in an instant, and Raul Jimenez burst past Jakub Kivior into the box, and despite William Saliba almost making the ground up, it was too good from the Fulham attacker, whose shot was perfectly placed to beat David Raya in our goal and make it 1-0 to Fulham, and left it with all to do for the Gunners. We picked up, though, from where we left off prior to conceding the goal, enjoying most of the possession, but failing to cut through to get a decent shot off.
And the ex-Arsenal goalkeeper did well to keep the ball out of the net.
Yes, Bernd Leno, one of 3 ex-Gunners in the starting lineup, dealt with an in-swinging Saka corner, and then Declan Rice had him scrambling, but his shot was just wide. We then had another chance created by Trossard, whose cross found Saka at the far post, but the England man miscued his volley well wide of the target this time.
But we scored from another set piece.
We did, Madi. Fulham, they seemed happy to sit deep, but as that rain continued into the second half, we tried to pick up the urgency. Declan Rice swung in a free kick that Thomas Partey couldn't quite connect with, but it led to a corner, and Rice's deep delivery was met at the far post by Kai Havertz's header, which was across the face of goal, but who better to be in the right place at the right time than big Willie Saliba, who prodded the ball home. And despite a lengthy VAR check, the player was deemed to be onside, and it was game on at 1 apiece, with Saliba's second goal in as many games.
We then had a number of chances to win the game.
Yes, there was an excellent corner, again falling on Thomas Partey's head, but again it went well wide of the target when he really should have done better. I know we didn't buy Partey for his heading ability, but we would expect better. Manager Mikel Arteta then sent on a whole raft of changes for the latter stages as we look to get a winner, with Martinelli, Marino, Jesus and Nwaneri adding some fresh energy. And then we had the ball in the net from a Martinelli cross to Saka at the far post, pretty much bang on the 90 minutes. But while Saka was onside to score, Martinelli was fractionally offside when he received the ball in the build-up. VAR then overruled the on-field decision and it deflated the Gunners. And we really were from that moment unable to create any further clear-cut chances to take the winner this time around.
And what does it mean for the team, Ben?
Well, it means with that 1-1 draw, Maddie, that we're still in third place in the Premier League on 29 points now, only 6 behind Liverpool, but they have a game in hand at this stage. But there is, as you know, no time to rest as it's on to the next game in midweek, where we're going to be welcoming AS Monaco to Emirates Stadium for our Champions League match day 6 of the league phase, before our Premier League scheduling returns on the weekend when we host Everton at home.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us at Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude to you for your continued support. Next episode is going to cover off on our upcoming games. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future, because remember, your love for the beautiful game, that is what fuels our passion.
And we'd like for you to spread the word about Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Yes, please share our podcast with other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back on the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time,
Goodbye.